Hi, Sidney Kean again with Chapter 10, Part 1 of Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi. Pinocchio, as was natural, asked the fairies permission to go round the town to make the invitations, and the fairies said to him, "Go if you like and invite your companions for the breakfast tomorrow, but remember to return home before dark. Have you understood?" "I promise to be back in an hour," answered the puppet. "Take care, Pinocchio. Boys are always very ready to promise, but generally they are very little given to keeping their word." "But I am not like other boys. When I say a thing, I do it." "We shall see. If you are disobedient, so much the worse for you. Why? Because boys who do not listen to the advice of those who know more than they do always meet with some misfortune or other." "I have experienced that," said Pinocchio, "but I shall never make that mistake again." "We shall see if that is true." Without saying more, the puppet took leave of his good fairy, who was like a mamma to him, and went out of the house singing and dancing. In less than an hour, all his friends were invited. Some accepted at once, heartily. Others at first required pressing, but when they heard that the rolls to be eaten with the coffee were buttered on both sides, they ended by saying, "We will come also to do you a pleasure." Now, I must tell you, amongst Pinocchio's friends and schoolfellows, there was one that he greatly preferred and was very fond of. This boy's name was Romeo, but he always went by the name of Candlewick, because he was so thin, straight, and bright, like the new wick of a little night candle. Candlewick was the laziest and the naughtiest boy in the school, but Pinocchio was so devoted to him. He had indeed gone at once to his house to invite him to breakfast, but he'd not found him. He returned a second time, but Candlewick was not there. He went a third, but still it was in vain. Where could he search for him? He looked here, there, and everywhere, and at last he saw him hiding in the porch of a peasant's cottage. "What are you doing there?" asked Pinocchio, coming up to him. "I'm waiting for midnight to start." "Why? Where are you going?" "Very far, very far, very far away. And I have been 3 times to your house to look for you." "What did you want me for?" "Do you not know that the great event? Have you not heard of my good fortune?" "What is it?" "Tomorrow I cease to be a puppet, and I become a boy like you and like all other boys." "Much good may it do you then." "Tomorrow, therefore, I expect you to breakfast at my house." "But I tell you that I am going away tonight." "And where are you going?" "I'm going to live in a country, the most delightful country in the world. It is called Land of the Boobies." "Will you not come with me?" "I? No, never. Believe me, if you do not come, you will repent it." "Where could you find a better country for us boys? There are no schools there. There are no masters. There are no books. In that delightful land, nobody ever studies. On Thursday, there is never school, and every week consists of 6 Thursdays and 1 Sunday. Only think, the autumn holidays begin the 1st of January and finish on the last day of December. That is the country for me." "But how are the days spent in the land of boobies?" "They are spent in play and amusement from morning till night. When night comes, you go to bed and recommence the same life in the morning. What do you think of it?" said Pinocchio. and he shook his head slightly, as much to say, "That is a life I also would willingly lead." "Well, will you go with me, yes or no? Resolve quickly." "No, no, 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 and no again, no. I promised my good fairy to become a well-educated boy, well-conducted boy, and I will keep my word. And as I see that the sun is setting, I must leave you at once and run away. Goodbye, and a pleasant journey to you." "Where are you rushing off to in such a hurry?" "Home. My good fairy wishes me to be back before dark." "Wait another 2 minutes." "It will make me too late. Only 2 minutes. And if the fairy scolds me, let her scold you. When she has scolded well, she will hold her tongue," said that rascal Candlewick. "And what are you going to do? Are you going alone or with companions?" "Alone? We shall be more than 100 boys. And do you make a journey on foot? A coach will pass by shortly, which is to take me to that happy country." "What I would not give for the coach to pass by now, that I might see you all start together." "Stay here a little longer and you will see us all." "I've already delayed too long. The fairy will be anxious about me." "Poor fairy, is she afraid that the bats will eat you?" "But now," continued Pinocchio, "are you really certain there are no schools in that country?" "Not even the shadow of one." "And no masters either?" "Not one. And no one is ever made to study?" "Never, never, never." "Oh, what a delightful country," said Pinocchio, his mouth watering. "What a delightful country! I have never been there, but I am quite imagine it." "Why will you not come?" "It is useless to tempt me. I promised my good fairy to become a sensible boy, and I will not break my word. Goodbye, Candlewick. A pleasant journey to you. Amuse yourself and think sometime of your friends." Thus saying, the puppet made 2 steps to go, but then stopped, and turning to his friend, he inquired, "But are you quite certain that in that country all the weeks consist of 6 Thursdays and 1 Sunday?" "Most certain." "But do you know for certain that the holidays begin at the 1st of January and finish on the last day of December?" "Absolutely." "Oh, what a delightful country," repeated Pinocchio, looking enchanted. Then, with a resolute air, he added in a great hurry, "This time really goodbye, and a pleasant journey to you." "Goodbye." "When do you start?" "Shortly." "What a pity. If really it wanted only an hour to the time of your start, I should be almost tempted to wait." "And the fairy?" "What a pity. It is already late. If I return home in an hour, sooner or later, it will all be the same." "Poor Pinocchio. And if the fairy scolds you—" "I must have patience. I will let her scold me. When she has scolded me well, she will hold her tongue." In the meantime, night had come on, and it was quite dark. Suddenly they saw in the distance a small light moving, and they heard a noise of talking and the sound of a trumpet, but so small and feeble that it resembled the hum of mosquitoes. "Here it is!" shouted Candlewick, jumping to his feet. "What is it?" asked Pinocchio in a whisper. "It is the coach coming to take me. Now will you come with me, yes or no?" "But is it true," asked the puppet, "that in that country boys are never obliged to study?" "Never, never, never." "What a delightful country! Oh, what a delightful country! What a delightful country!" At last the coach arrived, and it arrived without making the slightest noise, for its wheels were bound round with tow and rags. It was drawn by 12 pairs of donkeys. Some were grey, some white, some brindled like pepper and salt, and others had large stripes of yellow and blue. But the most extraordinary thing was this. The 12 pairs, that is, the 24 donkeys, instead of being shod like other beasts of burden, had on their feet men's boots made of white kid leather. The coachman was a little man, broader than he was long, flabby and greasy like a lump of butter, with a small round face like an orange, a little mouth that are always laughing. All the boys, as soon as they saw him, fell in love with him. The coach was, in fact, quite full of boys between 8 and 12 years old, heaped one upon another like herrings in a barrel. They were uncomfortable, packed close together, and could hardly breathe. But nobody said, "Ho!" Nobody grumbled. The consolation of knowing that in a few hours they would reach a country where there were no books, no schools, and no masters made them happy and resigned. As soon as the coach had drawn up, the little man turned to Candlewick, and with 1,000 smirks and grimaces said to him, smiling, "Tell me, my fine boy, would you also like to go to that fortunate country?" "I certainly wish to go, but I must warn you, my dear child, that there is not a place left in the coach. You can see for yourself. It is quite full." "No matter," replied Candlewick. "If there is no place inside, I will manage to sit on the springs." And giving a leap, he seated himself astride on the springs. "And you, my love?" said the little man, turning in a flattering manner to Pinocchio. "What do you intend to do? Are you coming with us, or are you going to remain behind?" "I remain behind," answered Pinocchio. "I'm going home. I intend to study and to earn a good character at school, as all well-conducted boys do." "Much good may it do you." "Pinocchio!" called out Candlewick, "listen to me. Come with us and we shall have such fun." No. "Come with us and we shall have such fun," cried 4 other voices from inside the coach. "Come with us and we shall have such fun," shouted in a chorus 100 voices from inside the coach. "But if I come with you, what will my good fairies say?" said the puppet, who was beginning to yield. "Do not trouble your head with melancholy thoughts. Consider only that we are going to a country where we'll be at liberty to run riot from morning till night." Pinocchio did not answer, but he sighed. And he sighed again. Oh, and this poor puppet sighed for the 3rd time, and he finally said, "Make a little room for me. I'm coming too." "The places are all full," replied the little man. "But to show you how welcome you are, you shall have a seat in my box." "And you?" "Oh, I will go on foot." "No, indeed, I could not allow that. I would rather mount one of these donkeys," cried Pinocchio. Approaching the right-hand donkey at the first pair, he attempted to mount him, but the animal suddenly kicked up his hind legs and, backing violently, threw the poor puppet into the middle of the road onto a heap of stones. Roars of laughter followed. But the little man, instead of laughing, said to the puppet, "Mount him now without fear. That little donkey had got some whim into his head." Pinocchio mounted, and as the coach started, whilst the donkeys were galloping and the coach was rattling over the stones of the high road, the puppet thought that he heard a low voice that was scarcely intelligible, saying to him, "Poor fool, you would follow your own way, but you will repent it." Pinocchio, feeling almost frightened, looked from side to side to try and discover where these words would come from, but he saw nobody. The donkeys galloped, the coach rattled, the boys inside slept, Candlewick snored like a dormouse, and the little man seated on the box sang between his teeth, "During the night I'll sleep, but I never sleep, but I sleep never." After they'd gone another mile, Pinocchio heard the same little low voice saying to him, "Bear it in mind, simpleton. Boys who refuse to study and turn their backs upon books, schools, and masters to pass their time in play and amusement, sooner or later come to a bad end. I know it by experience, and I can tell you, a day will come when you will weep, as I am weeping now, but then it will all be too late."